Hi there, my name is Nico. We're here at Bailey Metal Products in Princeton, Ontario. Today we'll be installing the Composite TotalJoist. Specifically, we'll be taking a look at the total deck. To start off our decking, Bailey Metal Products sends starter pieces. These are pre-cut and designed to fit in smoothly. Now that we have some starter decks installed, we can take a look at some of the lip details. So on our load-bearing wall, we have our lip facing downwards. This minimizes the gaps and allows us to screw this down easily. On the other side, we have our lip facing upwards, which when we install our full piece of deck, it will allow us to lap this deck onto the full piece and screw it down easily. Along the load-bearing wall, we want to put 3 number 10 self-tappers connecting the deck down to the wall. This will vary depending on your wall. And make sure to check your drawings. Now, we fastened our decking along the load-bearing wall. We also need to fasten it along the strut. For this, we use our number 10 3/4 inch screws and 3 on each side. Now, important thing to note, we did fasten this for the video, but typically it's better to leave these pieces loose until you finish your first continuous piece of deck. More on that later. Bailey Metal Products sends starter pieces cut pre-length for 36, 48, and the standardized spacings. Now, when you don't have a standard spacing, you will have to cut on-site using a grinder wheel and a cut-off disc, and make sure to cut off your 16-foot full-length decks. Now that we've installed all our starter pieces, we get to our last piece. It's very similar to all our previous pieces. It's just for one side we are fastening down to the wall. Whether that be a light steel wall, a concrete wall, your fasteners will vary, so check your drawings. We've finished all our starter pieces and we're commencing with our first row of decking. Now, for demonstration purposes, we're using a shorter piece of deck. On site, you'll be working with a 16-foot 4 piece. We can see here with the lip facing upwards, it allows us to tuck this deck under the starter. And now when we go and self-tap fasten this down, it won't push our deck downwards. Okay, continuing with our first row of deck installation. Because of the dovetail design, we install our first piece of decking print side down. We skip our second piece. We leave a 16-foot space, which is the length of our second piece that will be going in there. And we install our third piece print side down. Okay, we are commencing with our first row of decking. As you can see, we've installed our first piece and our third piece. And we're gonna get ready to infill with our second piece. Now, what's important here is that our first and third piece are parallel to each other. Long bays, we can chalk a line. In this case, we eyeballed from one end downwards, and we know those pieces are in line and parallel. So back to our total deck. We have our print side located here, which tells us that this face of the deck is the side with the bigger dovetails. So before we make this connection, it's important that you get the orientation right. So the decking that's overlapping another deck is print side up. The deck being lapped is always print side down. Now, to touch base on deck bearing conditions, we have our load bearing wall here. Our minimum bearing is 2 inches, so here we have plenty. On the opposite end, our joist bearing condition, it's important that the deck covers the joist entirely. Okay, we're almost done our first row of decking here. We're now returning with our second piece, and this is print side up. Now, we've got our first row of decking in, and we look back at our starters. We didn't fasten them, so now we can adjust as needed to bring them tight against our first row of decking. For a uniform wall that's consistent, this might not be needed. It's where you start varying. So when you start jumping from light steel to concrete to beams and your wall thicknesses change, which will push out your joist shoe. Allowing some movement in our starter piece so we can accommodate that easily. Okay, so we finished all our starters. We finished our first row of deck. We're on to our second full row of decking. If you remember correctly, print side down, that enables us to overlap this deck and make our connections. Now, the method that we covered here is the typical method for installing total deck and how it is shown in your drawings. Now, we recognize that on site that might not be the most efficient method depending on how you're tying off and site conditions. So an alternative is to install the pieces all the way down your joist span and infill with your second piece. Okay, we've installed our last row of total decking on the other end of the joist span. We've again filled our starter pieces in, and we now have this remaining gap. What you do here is take your 16'4" piece and rip it down the length, ensuring that you have a lap on both sides of your lip. Well, thank you to the viewers for watching those instructional videos. We hope you found them useful and that you can apply them on site. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to your Bailey representative. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.